Hello the vinyl community on YouTube. The months keep spinning. It feels like it was pretty newly I did a vinyl CD update for April, and now it's already time to do a vinyl CD update for May. And as you can hear, I've been catching a bit of the spring flu or the spring cold. I'm having a little bit of a catched a little bit of a cold, but nothing bad. Still working. So it's when I get ill, I get better very very fast. So I'm not ill very long time normally. But to start, May have been okay month. Of course, there have been the Stockholm trip, which of course I won't be showing here since it has a video of its own. But other than that, it has been a huge CD month. I have a big stack of CDs that I'm going to show, but also some vinyls also. So it's been a pretty okay month. And I also have a couple of CDs that I forgot totally to show in April. That was a part of what I bought in April. I'm going to start with these first. I felt this was pretty worth showing because very special. This is a label called Bakhåll Ambush Sound Archive that have been releasing in these interesting metal boxes. American call it entertainment programs on CDs. You have here, take a look at not easy to open it with one hand. American entertainment shows, might call it. You have here an episode of Groucho Marx, You Bet Your Life, and if you've been following me through the years, you know that I'm a huge fan of the Marx Brothers, and I found an album with Harpo, and I found an album with Chico, and now I have found finally what looks like an album with Groucho. So I guess the quartet, the trio is completed. You Bet Your Life, it was a comedy quiz he had in radio, and this is just in half an hour program, one episode of the program, but it's still fun to have, and I really love this covers in metal. I think they are I felt like I wanted to have them merely also for the cover, but also since it's very interesting. It is on these records. Here is a radio version of Humphrey Bogart and Ingmar Bergman's Casablanca. A radio version. I guess a short one if is not all. I think this one is the longest with 45 minutes. John Wayne, Stagecoach. It is a radio version of a movie from 1949. And we have also an episode of Rocky Fortune with Frank Sinatra from 1953. Really, very interesting to have. Even though I haven't heard of many of the two last ones, but very interesting. If not also for the covers. One single. Only one vinyl single this month, Rick Springfield, Bop Till You Drop, but also one that I've been looking for, so it was very interesting still. Then we take, since CDs are so many, I think we take the vinyl first. Very mix of genres, starting with some jazz. This is Dizzy Gillespie at Newport, a live concert from 19 doesn't say what, but I think it is the early 60s. It is Gillespie's big band in a live concert, released on Verve. We have some British house music. Overall, very lot of house music this month. This is JorgenS. I've heard of her before. I have a single with her. She's really a great house singer. Much produced by the group called Mantronic, who had hits in the British charts in the late 80s, early 90s. And sounds very much British house from the late 80s. And I listened to quick peeks of all the vinyls at least, and it sounds really, really great and funky. Thelma Houston and Jerry Butler. Not too familiar with Jerry Butler all that much, but you know that I'm a fan of Thelma Houston. So this album is from 1977 and is released on Motown. Some early 80s British music. This is not even the 80s, this is from 1979, but crisscross between 70s and 80s. This is Bruce Woolley and the Camera Club, English Garden. Little 70s new wave, very early new wave synth pop style. Tom Dolby, I think they're the same as Thomas Dolby, I'm not too sure, but it's on keyboards. You have here the real original of Video Killed the Radio Star. And Buggles is of course the hit of it, the one that made the biggest hit of it. But I think Bruce Woolley was the one who did the first version. And I actually think that Buggles version is a little bit overplayed, so I actually prefer Bruce Woolley's version. Here we have a band that I've only heard of when I checked a book of new wave synth pop music and indie pop, and discovered this band, checked them out, and thought it didn't sound all that bad, so why not? I gave it a chance. Now when I found an whole album with them, a band called Afraid of Mice. Might call it a bit little British indie rock style. I thought it sounded a little bit like Mission when the album Mission I bought just when I listened to quick peeks of it, and it sounded very, very interesting. This is from 1980. Yeah. 81, I think. More 80s. Teresa Bazar, which was the singer of Dollar, and this is her solo album The Big Kiss from 1985, produced by Arif Mardin. So this one I have nothing but high expectations on. I've listened to the single Big Kiss, that is a really, really good one, so this one is going to be very, very interesting. Here we have some jazz. The best of Harry Edison, and we have here also Eddie Lockjaw Davis on tenor. The piano is divided between Count Basie and Dolo Coker, and John Hurd on bass and Jimmy Smith. No, not the Jimmy Smith, but this is another Jimmy Smith on drums. This one is a Pablo release, released by Norman Granz. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Swing from released in 1980. And I found another Earl Klug from 1991, Midnight in San Juan. Sounds really, really relaxing and cool, smooth jazz style. So, let's go to the CDs. The library here in Sundsvall had a sellout of their CDs, the CD albums. So I bought a whole stack of CDs from the library. Of course, then they were not in original package, so I had to buy regular sleeves, of course, and put them in. And there are a lot of stickers and so on, of course, since it's a library. But I managed to remove the worst of them, so they look pretty good anyway. It's a mix between jazz and indie pop. Don Bias, this is a 1945 original 1945 recordings released on Tax. I have this one on cassette copy, but I felt like I wanted to have it in some kind of original form. Really great, Buck Clayton, Errol Garner, and Cozy Cole, and the Slam Stewart, and really great for the swing. Here's an interesting one. Elis Regina and Vento de Maio, which is Portuguese for May Wind. Not easy to find Brazilian and MPB music here in Sundsvall, so very, very surprised and happy to find this one. Elis Regina, one of Brazilian's best female vocalists, definitely. More jazz, Swedish piano player Bengt Hallberg, and All-Star Sessions from 1953-54 featuring Lars Gullin. Swedish jazz when it is at its best. Released on Dragon Records, who I think is one of the best labels for Swedish jazz, owned by Swedish radio host Lars Westin. This one is really interesting. I have it on a copy, but now I have an original of it. Joey DeFrancesco, incredible, a live concert that I think is really, really great and fantastic Hammond organ jazz concert. And it featured also 2 tracks with Jimmy Smith. And these two play so well together, so fantastic. And you can almost hear that Joe DeFrancesco is so honored to play with Jimmy Smith. It feels like he almost sounds like he's playing with God almost. So I think it's really, really interesting to just hear the chemistry between these two. But this is a really, really great live album. This is Oasis. And Don't Believe the Truth from 2005. One of their final albums. But really, really happy to find it. Also very interesting, Morrissey. Live at the Earl Court, only for $1, because these library records only costed $1 each. From 2005. Look at this track list. Both new songs and classic Morrissey songs, and also classic Smith songs. I listened to quick peeks of it. Sounds very, very interesting. Really like the sound of this one. And more indie pop, Swedish indie pop. A double CD pack of Popsicle. The good side of the Popsicle. This is a compilation of their best songs from the 90s. Here we have Jarvis Cocker from Pulp, British group Pulp, Common People, Disco 2000 and so on. A really great 90s Britpop band at this time. This is the Jarvis Cocker record. It's a soul album that he released. I didn't know they had released soul albums. And sounds very interesting when I listen to quick peeks of it. Very, very interesting. More jazz. As you know, I like when American musicians play with Swedish musicians in some kind of cooperation. Here we have Swedish clarinetist Putte Wickman together with American clarinetist Buddy DeFranco with Klas Krona Trio and an album called The Champs. And the quick peeks of this one says that this sounds very, very great. They play extremely well together, Putte Wickman and Buddy DeFranco. More Swedish jazz. This is Bernt Rosengren, one of Sweden's most legendary jazz musicians, who have, with his octet that he's been awarded, winning Grammys with, plays a jazz version of Porgy and Bess. And also sounds very, very interesting. Interesting to compare it with Miles Davis' Porgy and Bess. So, now to a couple of CDs that I found at Erikshjälpen. This is David Bowie, the Best of Bowie, a classic compilation that I think many have seen and many have, with all these classics, both from 80s and the 70s, so this one was a must. Mark Almond, Enchanted, from 1990. The album before that, The Stars We Were, was a huge disappointment that I got rid of this year. On the other hand, the Tenement Symphony that came after this one is definitely still one of Mark Almond's absolute best albums. And this one lands more towards Tenement Symphony. The quick pick says that this actually sounds pretty interesting. It's going to be very, very fun to listen to. A whole lot of 90s dance music with house, a lot of house also. This one I've listened to entirely and it sounds very, very interesting. This is Bomb the Bass and the album Unknown Territory from 1991, including the hit single Winter into July that I think is a magnificent single. This was a little bit surprised when I listened to it because I was hoping that it was be much house style. Some were house style, but some was also very experimental, almost like Big Beat style, pre-Big Beat, like almost Fatboy Slim sounding in some parts. But it was actually very, very good still. Really, really great danceable and filled with a lot of fantasy with the music. I love this album, really, really great, really, really much. Best of compilation by German Snap, including then their hits Power, I Got the Power, Marry a Little Boy, and of course Rhythm is a Dancer and so on. And very, very interesting. House music, Humanoid, famed for their song Stacker Humanoid and their album Global Humanoid from 1989. This one this is really, really atmospheric and relaxing house beat, so this is going to be very interesting. This one I was very, very happy to find. Kraftwerk on CD and an English version of an album called The Mix. They done new remixes of their old songs. Sounds interesting, the little quick peeks I've heard of it. See there all the classic tracks, the Robots, Autobahn, Trans-Europe Express, Music Non-Stop and so on, Computer Love. Not often I managed to find Kraftwerk albums. And finally, I've been curious about this album for a while. I listened to it not as I thought. The James Taylor Quartet and Get Organized, funny title, from 1989. I don't know, it didn't grab me as much as I thought it would, even if it plays an organ and everything. And it was pretty funky, but it didn't grab me all that much. I thought it would be a little more interesting. Not bad, well played, but as I said, it didn't grab me all that much. So I keep it for now, but whether it will stay after future cullings remains to be seen. So that was my May. That was my May. Let's see what next month has to offer now when we slowly walk into the summer period. So until next time, have a really nice time, no matter where you are, no matter what you do. Take care. So long.